Hey everyone, welcome back and happy Wednesday. All right, guys. Well, we're back to talk about some more Vanderpump Rules stuff because Jax Taylor is reacting after Brittany Cartwright slammed him in the latest Hot Mic interview. Also, it looks like Sheena is coming out about another famous fling that she had back in the day, which I saw where some people were saying some stuff like, oh, well, Sheena. I'm going to say do not shame my girl Sheena because she is happily married and she has a beautiful little family. With that, Lala Kent also might have just gave a little bit more about the whole assistant thing. So before we jump in, if you guys haven't already, go ahead, pop off in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed. Don't forget to hit that notification bell and let's start here. Yeah, I think we shall. So obviously, we know, and again, thank you to Reality Blurb, the cast has been busy ahead of the premiere of its second season, and Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor obviously are going through a very nasty divorce. And there's been a lot of drama, and I think it's going to play out a lot on season 2. But now Jax is seemingly responding to an interview that Brittany did, which we showed you guys yesterday with Alex Baskin, where she detailed his alleged mistreatment of her. She also recently responded to a fan on social media who said she knew what to expect when she got with Jax. Now, again, she appeared on the Hot Mic podcast where she opened up about her issues with Jax and how he treated her while he was in rehab. And during the interview, she discussed hooking up with his friend. But Jax heard about Brittany's interview on the podcast. Yeah. It looks like this prompted him to go to the gym and work off some steam. And he also took to social media with multiple Instagram story posts. Here are the posts. The first post from Jax is what looks like to be like a waterfall kind of stock image with a text overlay. And it says, there will always be rocks in the road ahead of us. They will be stumbling blocks or stepping stones. It all depends on how you use them. But in this post, he is almost certainly saying that his drama with Brittany will lead to something he deems as greater. However, it's also a bit ironic and maybe even hypocritical given how everyone in their lives attests to him being the issue in the marriage. It's also been said that Brittany has never been better since leaving Jax. But the second post that seems to be related to Brittany's interview shows Jax in the gym taking a mirror selfie. Um, he's wearing his Jax's sweatshirt, and yeah, that's fine. But the caption is where we're at. When you're having a rough time, the gym never lets you down, even late at night. But Brittany also recently took to social media to discuss her life. And in an Instagram post, she said, "This has been the hardest year of my life." Hold on. Let me see if I can't just bring it up because those are the best when we can actually just bring up what was said. That way we are not getting this up. This has been the hardest year of my life. And this has just been, it's part of my story. She added that she's learning as she goes and she's trying to provide the best life possible for her son. However, as is often the case on social media, at least one person had something negative to say in the response. And the person's comments read, "I'm over this narrative. She knew who she married. She forgave him time after time for lying and cheating, and she had a child with him. She needs to stop." And Brittany responded, "You have no idea what a narcissistic relationship is like. And until you do, please do not judge others. It has taken everything in me to break the cycle." Honestly, it's not like she's the first one saying that a narcissistic relationship is incredibly hard. We know that. So I'm surprised that I get where some people are like, well, you fell in love with a reality TV villain. He was a villain. Like, he had a footprint on Bravo of being the bad guy before you got with him. What did you expect? And I think that this was that thing where guys and girls, however you identify, um, where they think, you know what, like I know this person has been really awful in their past relationships, but not with me. It's gonna be different with me. They'll never do that to me. I mean, I honestly, like, I gagged when Victoria Lee Robinson was on my channel and her and Kyle Chan, and she was like, you know, I will never like Tom, what he did to Raquel and Ariana, that'll never be me. And I was like, that is a bold statement. I really hope you don't eat those words. That's a rough statement. Um, but yeah. Anyways, let's play the Lala clip and then we'll get into the Sheener of it all. So Vanderpump Rules Party podcast, our girls over there believe that maybe Lala in this latest clip of her podcast was referring to her former assistant, Jessica. They said Lala tells or talks about the cutting of the fat and removing friends that she thought would be on her pod for forever. And the timing implies that she's referring to Jessica, and she insisted on making Jessica a part of her podcast. And it seems fair that listeners should hear something about what happened.
I just feel like if you can look in the mirror and say, is this a me problem? Then, sometimes it might be. There are many friendships in my life that have gone south, and I go, you know what? I could have handled that totally differently, but I didn't, and this is where we are. But there's other people where I'm like, wow, I had a lot of fat that I had to cut.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really thought that person was going to be in the pod for life.
It happens.
It's depressing.
Sometimes once you realize though, if somebody's draining your energy instead of like recharging you, like when we leave.
And I always feel like if you can look in the mirror and say, is this a me problem? Then,
So to be fair, when she's saying the pod, I don't think she's referring to the podcast. I think she always calls her family dynamic an orca pod. That's what she relates it to. And if you guys are not familiar with all of the work that Lala Cat has done for the orcas and SeaWorld, and how she hates the fact that these beautiful animals, these majestic creatures, are like locked in tanks and cages. She has done this for a long time. That's, I think, why she also refers to her family dynamic as a pod. And I think she loves the ocean. And I think that's probably also why she named her daughter Ocean. But yeah, I'm wondering though if you guys think that's what she's talking about. But hold on, not done just yet. I don't know if you guys saw this. Our Girls Taste of Reality came out with it. NSYNC's JC Chazz responded to Sheena Shay teasing that they hooked up in the past. What? He gave insight into his relationship with Sheena during an interview on So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey on his podcast. And now Taste of Reality is wondering, is this John Mayer 2.0? Ryan asked if JC ever dated or knows Sheena Shay from Vanderpump Rules. And he said, I know her. And yes, did we date? No. Huh. He did continue by saying, Sheena and I did speak in the past, but everyone's got a different point of view on life. What? Okay. So, Taste of Reality is saying this is when the Instagram account Vanderpod Recaps did their magic. And they said, shout out to the throwback of Sheena playing the number one guy in the group with Jax Taylor and Brittany Cartwright from her podcast last year. Instagram's at Vanderpod Recaps resurfaced clip featured the now divorcees naming the number one guy from a variety of groups, and naturally the gang named the number one guy from NSYNC. And Jax and Brittany landed on Lance Bass as their fave NSYNCer. Never forget. Okay. He did officiate their wedding, and Sheena couldn't wait to interject with the name of her favorite guy. And she said, I was Team JC back in my day. But Britt also confessed, back in the day, I was too, but when you actually know them, I think it's different. Now, she couldn't resist boasting about an alleged hookup, is what they're saying. And Sheena teased, I did kind of know JC, if you know what I'm saying. We get what you're saying. But even going back to the John Mayer of it all, in 2020, Sheena announced that she was in a throuple with John Mayer and Stacy, the bartender from the Hills. And according to the US Sun, Sheena and John were even at a party not long ago where Andy Cohen also turned up, and he tried his best to avoid Sheena. She was trying her best to talk to John and even go as far as take a picture with him, but he shot her down. John was doing his best to avoid her all night. That's what they're saying. Who knows if that's true? You know what? Let me just say this too. It's so easy to say that, right? Oh, Sheena was chasing him down. If I called Sheena right now, she'd probably be like, that's not true. No, I wasn't. I said, do you want to do a picture? And he was like, no. And I would be like, okay, great, cool. We don't have to. I think it would be something as simple as that. I don't think that it's like, oh my God, Sheena went out of her way and she chased that man down. And she was like, oh my God, John Mayer, do you remember me when we were doing a throuple and it was me, you, and Stacy from the Hills? Do you remember all of that? That was such a good time. I'm just saying, as somebody who knows her, and I've known her for a long time. I'm not saying we're best friends because we're not. I think her family is absolutely incredible. Love Brock. Her daughter is the cutest little baby ever, and her mom and her sister are. I love their family. I think they're so sweet and they're always so nice and welcoming. I'm not believing that. So that's my opinion, but I'm allowed to have them. Now, I want to hear what you guys think, especially about Jax responding to the Brittany interview, Lala seemingly shading her former assistant, and this whole NSYNCer saga, because yeah, you better believe we want to talk about it. I love you guys. We'll see you next time.